You have been lied to by the most ordinary things in your own house. That phone battery rule you follow? Not true. That warning about cracking your knuckles? Fake. That fact about swallowing gum? Completely made up. Some of these myths were created by wartime propaganda. Some were marketing tricks. Some were just parents trying to stop you from doing something annoying. And somehow, they survived for decades. From the truth about your microwave and your shampoo bottle to the science your teachers got completely wrong, we are about to expose 50 of the dumbest facts about everyday objects that are total lies. By the end of this, you're going to look around your own kitchen and realize half of what you know was never true in the first place. Hit subscribe, because once you see how easily common sense can be manufactured, you'll never trust one. Your phone battery does not need to hit 0% before charging. You have probably heard this your entire life. Let your battery drain completely before plugging it in, or you will ruin it. That rule was true in the 1990s when phones used nickel-based batteries with memory effects. But your modern smartphone uses lithium-ion technology, and those batteries actually hate being drained to zero. Deep discharges stress the cells and shorten their lifespan over time. In fact, battery experts recommend keeping your charge between roughly 20% and 80% for optimal health. So every time you proudly say, "I always let it die first," you are not protecting your phone. You are slowly aging it. Congratulations. You have been babying your battery to death based on advice that expired before Wi-Fi even existed. 2. Swallowing gum does not sit in your stomach for 7 years. Every child has heard the horror story. Swallow gum and it will sit inside you for 7 years like a sticky time bomb. That myth was invented to stop kids from being gross and swallowing candy on purpose. Your digestive system does not panic when gum shows up. The sweeteners and flavorings are broken down normally. The rubber base is not fully digested, but it passes through your system just like corn or other indigestible fiber. In most cases, it exits within a few days without drama. There is no growing gum monster building a collection inside your stomach. The only long-term damage was the unnecessary fear you felt in 2nd grade. 3. Cracking your knuckles does not cause arthritis. You have probably been scolded for it. Stop cracking your knuckles or your hands will be ruined when you are older. The sound you hear is not bones grinding together. It is gas bubbles collapsing inside the fluid of your joints. One doctor famously cracked the knuckles on only one of his hands every day for decades to test the claim. After years of popping, there was no difference in arthritis between his 2 hands. None. 0. The worst side effect was annoying everyone around him. If cracking caused arthritis, every stressed office worker would need hand surgery by 40. The truth is much less dramatic. Your joints are not disintegrating, they are just noisy. 4. Microwaves do not destroy all the nutrients in your food. Some people treat microwave ovens like radioactive villains. They believe microwaving food kills all the nutrients and turns dinner into empty calories. In reality, microwaves simply use electromagnetic waves to excite water molecules, which heats the food. That is it. No mysterious radiation residue, no nutrient apocalypse. In fact, because microwaving cooks food faster and often with less water, it can preserve more vitamins than boiling, which leaches nutrients away. Your microwave is not secretly sabotaging your vegetables. Overcooking them on the stove probably does more damage. The real crime happening in your kitchen is not radiation. It is forgetting leftovers in the back of the fridge. 5. Sugar does not make kids hyperactive. Every birthday party has that one moment when a child starts running in circles and someone says, "It's the sugar." The truth is far less dramatic. Multiple controlled studies have shown that sugar does not actually cause hyperactivity in children. In one famous experiment, parents were told their kids had consumed sugar, even though the drink was sugar-free. Those parents still rated their children as more hyper. The chaos at parties usually comes from excitement, loud music, friends, and zero bedtime enforcement. Blaming the cupcake is easier than admitting that children are naturally loud, impulsive, and thrilled to be at a party. Sugar didn't flip a switch. The environment did. 6. You do not lose most of your body heat through your head. You've probably been told that if you go outside without a hat, you will lose most of your body heat through your head. That myth started from a flawed military experiment in the 1950s where soldiers wore heavy Arctic suits but no hats. Naturally, they lost more heat from their uncovered heads. It wasn't magic, it was exposure. Your body loses heat from any area that is not insulated. If you go outside in shorts and a jacket, you will not magically radiate heat only from your scalp. Your legs will do their part too. Hats are helpful in cold weather, but your head is not a secret heat chimney designed to sabotage you. 7. Goldfish do not have 3-second memories. The tiny bowl on the counter feels less cruel if you believe the fish forgets everything every 3 seconds. But goldfish can remember things for months. Researchers have trained them to navigate mazes, respond to specific sounds, and even recognize the person who feeds them. They can learn patterns and adjust behavior over time. The 3-second myth likely stuck because people underestimated small animals and preferred a comforting lie. It is easier to believe your pet lives in a permanent state of confusion than to admit it might be bored in that tiny glass sphere. The problem was never their memory, it was ours. 8. Your blood is not blue inside your body. You may have stared at your veins and assumed your blood must be blue until oxygen hits it. That sounds scientific. It is not. Human blood is always some shade of red because of hemoglobin. Oxygen-rich blood is bright red. Oxygen-poor blood is darker, but still red. Your veins appear blue because of the way light penetrates your skin and reflects back to your eyes. Blue wavelengths scatter differently, creating the illusion. There is no secret color transformation happening inside you. You are not walking around with alien fluid waiting to turn red when exposed to air. Your circulatory system is dramatic enough without a color change plot twist. 9. Shaving does not make hair grow back thicker. Every teenager has heard it. Shave once and it will grow back darker, thicker, stronger, ready to conquer the world. That myth survives because of how hair looks when it regrows. When you shave, you slice off the tapered tip of the hair, leaving a blunt edge. As it grows out, that blunt end feels coarser and appears darker because it has not been naturally sun-bleached or modern screens do not damage your eyes simply because you are close to them. You might experience temporary eye strain, dryness, or headaches from prolonged focus, but that is fatigue, not permanent destruction. If closeness alone caused blindness, every graphic designer and gamer would need a seeing eye dog by now. The real threat is not proximity. It is binge watching until 3 a.m. 11. Eating before swimming does not make you drown. Countless children have spent half an hour sitting on a towel after lunch because someone insisted digestion would pull all the blood from their limbs and cause deadly cramps. Your body is more competent than that. It has enough blood supply to handle digestion and movement simultaneously. At worst, you might feel mild discomfort if you attempt an Olympic-level sprint right after a heavy meal. You will not suddenly lock up and sink like a brick. There is no epidemic of sandwich-related drownings in medical literature. The rule was created out of caution and passed down as certainty. The only real tragedy was the wasted pool time. 12. Carrots do not give you superhuman night vision. You were probably told to eat carrots so you could see in the dark like a superhero. That story exploded during World War II when the British military wanted to hide their new radar technology. They claimed their pilots' incredible nighttime accuracy came from eating lots of carrots. It was brilliant propaganda. Carrots do contain vitamin A, which supports healthy vision, but they do not grant nocturnal powers. If they did, grocery stores would sell them in the tactical equipment aisle. The myth stuck because it sounds wholesome and scientific at the same time. In reality, your eyesight is not upgraded by vegetables alone. Radar helped more than salad ever did. 13. Lightning does not strike the same place only once. Somehow, this comforting myth survived centuries. People say lightning never strikes the same place twice, as if the sky keeps a memory log of previous hits. In reality, lightning absolutely loves tall conductive objects and hits them repeatedly. The Empire State Building gets struck dozens of times every single year. Radio towers are basically lightning magnets. Storm clouds do not check a spreadsheet before firing again. The myth probably stuck because the odds of any one random spot getting hit twice feel low. But that logic disappears when you build a 1,000-foot metal spear into the sky. Nature does not do courtesy rules. If you are the tallest thing in the area, congratulations, you are on repeat mode. 14. You do not need to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. Movies have convinced people that police refuse to act unless someone has been gone for a full day. That is not how it works. Law enforcement treats disappearances based on risk factors, not an arbitrary clock. If a child vanishes, if there are signs of danger, or if behavior is unusual, authorities can act immediately. The 24-hour rule likely became popular because early investigations sometimes required basic verification before launching large searches. But there has never been a universal waiting period law. Time is critical in real missing person cases. The only thing delayed by 24 hours is outdated TV writing. 15. Dropping food for 5 seconds does not make it safe. The 5-second rule is humanity's greatest attempt at negotiating with bacteria. The idea says that if food hits the floor but you grab it quickly, germs do not have time to jump on. Bacteria do not move with a stopwatch. Contamination can happen instantly depending on the surface, moisture, and type of food. A dry cracker on a clean tile floor may pick up less than a wet piece of fruit on carpet, but time alone is not the deciding factor. The rule survived because nobody likes wasting snacks. It feels better to believe in a grace period than admit you just ate something that touched your kitchen floor. Science does not honor countdown timers. 16. Coffee does not dehydrate you like a desert survival test. For years, people treated coffee like a stealth dehydration weapon. The logic was simple. Caffeine is a diuretic, so it must drain your body dry. While caffeine can mildly increase urine production, regular coffee drinkers quickly develop tolerance. The fluid in the coffee itself offsets that effect. Numerous studies show that moderate coffee consumption contributes to your daily hydration just like water does. Your morning cup is not secretly canceling out itself. You are not evaporating from the inside. If coffee truly dehydrated you severely, office buildings would look like collapsed marathon routes by 10 a.m. The real danger of coffee is checking email before your brain is ready. 17. You do not sweat out toxins at the gym. It sounds powerful. You hit the sauna, you sweat buckets, and suddenly, you imagine toxins fleeing your body in terror. Sweat is mostly water and electrolytes. Your liver and kidneys handle detoxification, not your pores. Exercise is incredibly beneficial for cardiovascular health, mood, metabolism, and longevity, but it is not a chemical purge ritual. The detox narrative became popular because visible sweat feels dramatic. If something is dripping off you, it must be bad stuff leaving, right? Not exactly. You are cooling yourself. That is it. Your body already has a filtration system, and it does not require yoga mats or inspirational quotes to function properly. 18. Crystals do not emit healing energy fields. Walk into certain shops and you will hear that a specific stone can balance your chakras, cleanse negative energy, and possibly reorganize your entire emotional life. Crystals are beautiful minerals formed through geological processes. They do not broadcast therapeutic vibrations detectable by science. Their structure does not generate healing frequencies that realign your internal systems. What they can do is serve as symbols, reminders, or placebo triggers that make you feel calmer because you expect to feel calmer. The human brain is powerful. The quartz is not. If rocks truly cured anxiety and heartbreak, geology departments would double as hospitals. The earth is old, but it is not a pharmacy. 19. You do not need 8 glasses of water exactly. The 8 glasses a day rule sounds precise and authoritative, which is why it stuck. The problem is that hydration needs vary by body size, activity level, climate, and diet. There is no universal number stamped into human biology. Many people get significant water from food, especially fruits and vegetables. Thirst is also a built-in regulatory system that works remarkably well for most healthy adults. The 8-glass guideline likely began as a loose recommendation that was simplified and repeated until it became gospel. Your body is not running on a strict hourly quota. It is not waiting for you to hit glass number 7 before sounding an alarm. 20. Reading in dim light does not permanently ruin your eyes. Parents have warned children for generations that reading in low light will destroy their vision. Dim lighting can cause temporary eye strain, fatigue, and maybe a headache, but it does not cause permanent structural damage to your eyes. Your pupils simply adjust, and your eyes work harder to focus. Once the lighting improves, the strain subsides. The warning likely stuck because it encouraged good habits and prevented kids from squinting in the dark. But you are not shaving years off your eyesight by reading under a blanket with a flashlight. The real long-term issue is chronic screen overuse and lack of sleep, not one moody novel session in poor lighting. 21. You do not only use 10% of your brain. This myth refuses to die because it flatters people. It suggests you are secretly operating at 10% capacity, and unlocking the other 90% would turn you into a genius superhero. Brain imaging studies show that nearly all regions of the brain have identifiable functions, and even simple tasks activate multiple networks at once. Evolution would not waste 90% of a metabolically expensive organ. The myth likely came from misinterpretations of early neurological research or motivational exaggerations. If you were truly using only 10%, severe brain damage would go unnoticed most of the time. It does not. You are already using your brain. All of it. Whether that is reassuring depends on how today is going. 22. Alcohol does not warm you up. Taking a shot on a freezing night might make you feel warmer, but that sensation is deceptive. Alcohol dilates blood vessels near your skin, which increases blood flow to the surface. That creates a temporary feeling of warmth. At the same time, it actually increases heat loss from your core. In cold environments, this effect can accelerate hypothermia. The myth stuck because the flush feels real and immediate, but biology does not care about feelings. It cares about temperature regulation. If alcohol truly generated heat, winter survival manuals would recommend whiskey over jackets. They do not. Your sweater works better than your liquor cabinet. 23. Hair and nails do not keep growing after you die. This one sounds creepy and cinematic. The idea is that even in death, your hair and nails continue growing. What actually happens is dehydration. As the body loses moisture, the skin retracts slightly, making hair and nails appear longer. There is no active growth. Cells require oxygen and nutrients delivered by blood flow to divide and extend tissue. Once circulation stops, growth stops. The illusion stuck because visual changes after death can be unsettling, and the explanation feels mysterious. But it is physics and moisture loss, not post-mortem grooming. Your body does not schedule cosmetic updates after shutdown. 24. Brown eggs are not more nutritious than white eggs. People often assume brown eggs are healthier because they look more natural or farm fresh. The color of an eggshell is determined by the breed of the hen, not the nutritional content of the egg. Inside, brown and white eggs are nearly identical in protein, fat, and vitamin content when produced under similar conditions. Brown eggs sometimes cost more because the hens that lay them may require more feed. Price does not equal superiority. The marketing of earthy colors taps into instinct, not biochemistry. The yolk does not become morally superior because the shell is beige. 25. MSG is not a dangerous toxin in normal amounts. Monosodium glutamate has been blamed for headaches, flushing, and a mysterious Chinese restaurant syndrome. Scientific reviews have repeatedly found that MSG is safe for the vast majority of people when consumed in typical amounts. It is simply a sodium salt of glutamic acid, an amino acid naturally present in foods like tomatoes and cheese. The fear largely originated from a letter published in the 1960s and was amplified by anecdotal reports. Cultural bias may have helped it spread. If MSG were truly toxic at restaurant levels, countless cuisines worldwide would be hazardous zones. Flavor enhancement is not a chemical conspiracy. 26. Sitting on cold concrete does not give you hemorrhoids. This warning has echoed through generations like a public service announcement from nowhere. The idea suggests that sitting on cold surfaces somehow triggers swollen veins through sheer temperature alone. Hemorrhoids are related to pressure, straining, pregnancy, and prolonged sitting in general, not the chill of a park bench. Cold concrete might make you uncomfortable. It does not rewrite your vascular system. The myth likely survived because cold surfaces feel harsh and unpleasant, which makes them seem medically suspicious. But your body does not develop complex vein conditions because you paused on a sidewalk. The worst outcome is a numb backside and regret about your seating choices. 27. You do not need to detox after eating junk food. The word detox has become a marketing superpower. Eat poorly for a weekend, and suddenly you are told your body needs a special juice cleanse to reset. Your liver and kidneys are already performing detoxification every minute of your life. They filter waste products and maintain chemical balance without trendy beverages. There is no magical toxin storage tank that needs flushing after pizza night. Extreme cleanses can sometimes do more harm than good by disrupting electrolyte balance. The appeal is psychological. It feels productive to undo indulgence dramatically. But your internal systems are not waiting for a lemon cayenne intervention to resume operations. 28. You do not get sick just from being cold. Parents often warn that going outside with wet hair or without a jacket will give you a cold. Colds are caused by viruses, not chilly air. Cold temperatures may slightly influence immune response or encourage people to gather indoors where viruses spread more easily. But the temperature itself does not inject pathogens into your body. If cold air alone caused illness, every winter walk would require a prescription. The myth stuck because colds are more common in colder seasons, which creates an easy but incomplete explanation. Correlation feels convincing. Biology, however, requires microbes. Your coat helps with comfort, not viral defense shields. 29. You do not need to wait for your phone to fully charge before using it. Some people treat their devices like delicate museum artifacts, believing that using a phone before it hits 100% harms the battery. Lithium-ion batteries are designed for partial charging and discharging cycles. Using your phone while it charges does not damage it under normal conditions. Modern devices have built-in systems to regulate power flow and prevent overcharging. The myth lingers from older battery technologies and general caution about electronics. Unless your phone is overheating or using faulty equipment, scrolling at 63% is not a reckless act. Your battery is not emotionally offended by multitasking. 30. Natural does not automatically mean safe. There is a persistent belief that if something is labeled natural, it must be healthier or safer than synthetic alternatives. Many natural substances are toxic. Poison ivy is natural. Arsenic occurs naturally. Certain mushrooms can end your story quickly. Safety depends on dosage, context, and chemical properties, not marketing language. The term natural often creates a psychological shortcut that bypasses critical thinking. It sounds pure, ancient, and trustworthy. But nature is not inherently gentle, it is simply organic. The real question is how something interacts with the human body, not whether it grew in soil or a laboratory. Chemistry does not check labels before reacting. 31. Standing in front of a microwave does not absorb radiation. Some people treat microwaves like miniature nuclear reactors humming on the kitchen counter. The word radiation alone is enough to trigger panic. But microwave ovens use non-ionizing radiation, which simply agitates water molecules to generate heat. The metal casing and mesh screen in the door are specifically designed to contain those waves. If your microwave is intact and functioning properly, you are not being slowly irradiated while reheating leftovers. The fear likely stuck because radiation sounds invisible and dangerous. It is invisible. It is not the same as nuclear fallout. If microwaves leak deadly energy into the room every night, dorm rooms across the world would be glowing by now. 32. Your phone does not always listen to you. You mention a product once and suddenly an ad appears. It feels like your phone is secretly eavesdropping on every conversation. While targeted advertising can feel invasive, it is usually based on browsing behavior, location data, search history, and predictive algorithms, not constant live audio surveillance. Recording millions of users continuously would require enormous data storage and processing power. It is cheaper and more effective to analyze your clicks than your whispers. The illusion is powerful because the ads feel perfectly timed, but coincidence plus data profiling often explains more than conspiracy. Your phone is tracking patterns, not sitting there with headphones on. 33. You do not have to finish antibiotics because they get stronger if you stop. For years, the advice was simple. Always finish your entire antibiotic course or bacteria will become stronger. The real issue is more nuanced. Stopping antibiotics too early can allow some bacteria to survive and multiply, potentially contributing to resistance. But modern research shows that unnecessarily long courses can also promote resistance. The key is following medical guidance specific to the condition. The idea that bacteria instantly mutate into supervillains because you skipped one pill oversimplifies a complex biological process. Resistance develops through evolutionary pressure, not spite. Medicine evolves as evidence evolves. Old blanket rules do not always survive updated science. 34. You do not flush fat by drinking cold water. There is a popular claim that drinking ice-cold water forces your body to burn extra calories warming it up, leading to fat loss. Technically, your body does expend a small amount of energy adjusting temperature, but the calorie difference is minimal. You would need to drink unrealistic amounts of icy water to make a measurable impact on body fat. The myth sticks because it sounds like a secret hack. Burn calories without moving. Human metabolism is not easily tricked. Sustainable changes come from consistent habits, not temperature loopholes. Your refrigerator is not a weight loss strategy. 35. The natural sweetener label does not mean it is healthier. Products labeled with words like raw, organic, or natural sweetener often feel superior to plain sugar. But from a metabolic perspective, many natural sweeteners are still forms of sugar that affect blood glucose levels. Honey, agave syrup, and maple syrup contain vitamins in trace amounts, but they are not nutritional powerhouses in typical serving sizes. The body processes glucose and fructose based on chemistry, not branding. The appeal comes from imagery. Bees, trees, and farms sound wholesome, but replacing one sugar with another does not magically change its biological impact. Sweet is sweet, even when it comes in a rustic jar. 36. You do not sweat out a hangover. After a long night, some people swear by the sweat it out strategy. Hit the sauna, go for a hard run, flush the alcohol through your pores. The problem is that alcohol is primarily metabolized by your liver, not expelled through sweat in any meaningful amount. Exercise might make you feel temporarily better because of endorphins and increased circulation, but it does not erase the chemical aftermath in your bloodstream. In some cases, intense exercise while dehydrated can make things worse. The myth survives because sweating feels productive and dramatic, but biology does not negotiate with regret. Time and hydration do more than hero workouts ever will. 37. Your body does not need to be alkalized. The idea that your blood becomes dangerously acidic unless you drink special alkaline water sounds urgent and scientific. In reality, your body tightly regulates blood pH within a narrow range. If your blood pH shifts significantly, you are not buying better water, you are in a medical emergency. Foods can influence the pH of urine, but they do not dramatically alter the pH of your bloodstream in healthy individuals. The alkalizing trend grew because it sounds like internal balance engineering, but your kidneys and lungs already handle that job. They are extremely good at it. Your bloodstream does not require boutique hydration products to survive. 38. You do not starve a fever. Feed a cold, starve a fever has been repeated so often it feels ancient and wise. There is no solid scientific evidence supporting the idea that withholding food improves fever outcomes. When you are sick, your body needs energy and fluids to support immune function. Appetite may naturally decrease, but intentional starvation does not enhance recovery. The phrase likely emerged from observations that people with fevers often feel less hungry. That does not mean it is therapeutic. Your immune system is busy enough without you adding nutritional sabotage to the mix. Illness is not improved by self-imposed famine. 39. You do not use up your creativity like a battery. There is a persistent belief that creativity is a finite resource that runs out permanently if you use it too much. While burnout is real and mental fatigue exists, creativity is not a one-time allotment issued at birth. It is a cognitive process influenced by environment, rest, stimulation, and emotional state. The myth persists because creative blocks feel catastrophic. When inspiration slows, it feels like something is broken. But creativity often responds to practice, exposure, and recovery. It is not a mystical fuel tank that empties forever. Your brain is adaptable. It does not shut down the imagination department after a few heavy weeks. 40. Multitasking does not make you more productive. Many people proudly claim they are excellent multitaskers. In reality, what most brains do is rapid task switching. Each switch requires cognitive adjustment, which costs time and increases the likelihood of mistakes. Studies consistently show that focused attention on one task at a time tends to produce higher quality work and faster completion. The multitasking myth thrives because busyness feels impressive. Constant activity looks efficient, but scattered focus fragments performance. If juggling 5 things at once truly made you elite, surgeons and pilots would live stream their inbox while working. They do not. Concentration remains undefeated. 41. You do not have to wake a sleepwalker gently or they'll die. There is a dramatic belief that waking a sleepwalker suddenly can cause a heart attack, coma, or psychological collapse. That is not supported by medical evidence. Sleepwalking happens during partial arousal from deep sleep. Waking someone abruptly may confuse or startle them, and in rare cases they might react defensively, but it does not trigger instant death. The myth likely survived because sleepwalking feels eerie and unpredictable, so people invented a rule to make it seem safer. The better approach is calmly guiding the person back to bed to avoid injury. The real risk is tripping over furniture, not exploding from consciousness. 42. You do not swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep. This nightmare statistic circulates every few years and refuses to disappear. The claim says that while you sleep peacefully, spiders crawl into your mouth and you unknowingly ingest several per year. There is no scientific study backing this up. It was likely invented as a demonstration of how easily false information spreads. Spiders are generally not interested in warm, breathing caves that suddenly close and vibrate. The myth stuck because it is disgusting and memorable. Fear spreads faster than fact. Your bedroom is not a spider buffet line. 43. You do not have left brain or right brain personalities. The idea that logical people are left-brained and creative people are right-brained sounds clean and empowering. Brain imaging shows that both hemispheres communicate constantly, and most tasks require activity across both sides. Certain functions may be more dominant in one hemisphere, but personality is not neatly split down the middle. The myth gained traction because it offered identity labels that felt scientific. It is easier to say, "I'm just right-brained," than to admit skill differences require practice. Your brain is not a personality quiz with 2 options, it is a network. 44. You do not need to stretch before exercise to prevent injury. For decades, static stretching before workouts was treated as mandatory injury insurance. Modern research suggests that long static stretching before activity may temporarily reduce strength and does not significantly prevent injuries for most people. Warm-ups that increase blood flow and activate muscles are more effective. Stretching has benefits, especially for flexibility and mobility, but timing matters. The myth survived because it felt proactive and disciplined. Touching your toes looked like preparation. Injury prevention is more complex than one ritual movement. Muscles respond better to activation than ceremony. 45. You do not always trust your gut. The phrase "trust your gut" is treated like ancient wisdom. Intuition can be valuable, especially in situations where experience informs rapid judgment. But gut feelings are also shaped by bias, fear, and incomplete information. Cognitive psychology shows that human intuition is prone to systematic errors. Sometimes your gut is reading subtle patterns accurately. Other times, it is recycling past assumptions. The myth that instinct is always superior to analysis persists because it feels empowering and decisive. But reflection and evidence often outperform impulse. Your gut is a signal. It is not a supreme court. 46. You do not burn. Exactly 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound of fat. The famous 3,500 calorie rule says that if you burn 3,500 calories, you lose exactly 1 pound of fat. That number came from a simplified estimate in the 1950s and was never meant to be a precise, universal formula. Human metabolism is adaptive. As you lose weight, your energy expenditure changes, hormones shift, appetite changes. The math is dynamic, not linear. The 3,500 rule survived because it made weight loss feel like a simple bank account. Deposit deficit, withdraw fat. But your body is not a spreadsheet. It adjusts. That is why progress slows. Not because you are broken, but because biology does not follow neat round numbers. 47. You do not only catch a cold when it's cold outside. The word cold tricks you into blaming temperature. Respiratory viruses spread more efficiently in certain seasonal conditions, especially when people gather indoors. But stepping outside without a jacket does not invite a virus into your bloodstream. Pathogens need exposure. The myth stuck because winter and illness overlap, which makes the explanation feel obvious. Cold weather may influence immune responses slightly, but it does not magically generate infections. If temperature alone caused illness, Antarctica would be uninhabitable year-round. Viruses spread through contact, droplets, and proximity, not punishment for forgetting your scarf. 48. You do not detox with lemon water. Lemon water is refreshing. It is not a biochemical reset button. Adding citrus to water may encourage hydration, and vitamin C is useful, but it does not flush unnamed toxins from mysterious storage compartments in your body. Your liver handles metabolic waste continuously. Your kidneys filter blood every minute. There is no sludge reservoir waiting for lemon intervention. The myth thrives because detox sounds proactive and cleansing. It gives ordinary hydration a heroic narrative, but your internal organs have been running a 24-hour purification system since birth. Lemon is flavor, not filtration technology. 49. You do not need to replace your mattress every 8 years. Exactly. You may have heard that mattresses expire like milk. Replace every 8 years or risk spinal doom. The truth depends on quality, materials, usage, and personal comfort. Some mattresses degrade sooner, some last longer. The 8-year rule became popular through industry recommendations and marketing cycles. It provides a convenient timeline for sales. Mattresses do wear down, but there is no biological alarm that activates on year 8. If you sleep well and wake up without pain, your bed is not plotting against you. Replacement is about condition, not calendar superstition. 50. Common sense is not always true. This is the biggest lie of all. We assume that if something sounds logical, it must be correct. But many of these myths survived precisely because they sounded reasonable. Sugar equals energy equals hyperactivity. Cold equals sickness. Sweat equals detox. Logic shortcuts feel satisfying, but intuition is not evidence. Common sense evolves with data, and sometimes what everyone knows is just something everyone repeated. The most dangerous myths are not dramatic conspiracies. They are small, everyday assumptions you never thought to question. And if 50 ordinary facts turned out to be wrong, imagine what else you have never verified. You grew up repeating these like they were laws of physics. Don't crack your knuckles. Don't swallow gum. Don't sit too close to the TV. Finish everything on your plate. Wait 30 minutes before swimming. And somehow, none of it was actually true. Some of these myths started as marketing tricks. Some were wartime propaganda. Some were lazy science that never got updated. And some were just exhausted parents trying to control chaos with a scary sentence. But here's the part that should bother you. If simple, everyday facts about gum, eggs, and goldfish can survive for decades without evidence, what else have you accepted without question? Your house is full of objects. Your head is full of assumptions. And not all of them are accurate. If at least one of these shocked you, hit subscribe, because the lies about history, health, and human behavior get even worse. Now tell me in the comments, which myth fooled you the longest?